Welcome everybody. This is let me go back to here. Cool. So my lower thirds isn't showing up. So this is actually the 17th live stream that we're doing for the Advanced Dungeons and Dynamics 365 bare bones configuration. And today what we're going to do is we're going to probably do two topics as we move through. What we're going to do is we're going to work through the final part of the general ledger, which is a little bit of the currency configuration. And then possibly we're going to switch over and start the next module, which is going to be currency management. So a lot of these foundation modules we need in order to go out and start moving on to the next topics, which I can't wait to get to receivables and payables, because then we can set up customers and vendors and groupings and all of those things. But in order to get there, we need to set up all of this base information. And so what we've been doing so far with the setup is we've been working through the configuration, and we've been setting up the general ledger and a couple of other things along the way. So let's look here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working through inside of the lab environments that I've configured, that you all can take advantage of if you want to. And this is a blank environment, and we're building everything up from scratch. Now, today what we're going to do is we're going to continue through in the setup guide, the setup process that we've been documenting, and we're going to finish the currency management. Now, this part isn't really going to be the Faerûnian currency management. It's going to talk about some automations that we can do just in general for exchange rates. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the exchange rate providers, and then also we're going to look at how we can use those to update the process. Now, what we're going to do, if we have enough time, is what we're going to do is we're going to swap over again, as I mentioned, and we're going to talk about cash and bank management. But let's start by working through this. And what we're going to be talking about is that we're going to be talking about the currency rate exchange providers. So if you've got variable exchange rates that change on a daily basis, or you may want to change on a daily or weekly or monthly basis, then you can do all of that by hand. But what we can do is we can use these exchange rate providers to go out and set that up. Now, there's going to be one of them we're going to look at, and that's the Oanda exchange rate provider, just because we can easily get an API key for that and set that up. And we can also look at some of the other exchange rate providers that are out there in the system. So the first task that we're going to do is we're going to go out and we're going to look at the exchange rate providers, and then we're going to look at how we go out and can get a key for the Oanda service, and then continue from there. So let's start, and we'll go back to the service, to my surface that I've got here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for configure the exchange rate providers. So I'm going out, and I know this is the menu item that I want, so I'm searching for this through the menu items. But if we go out and look on the currency conversion inside of the general ledger, then it's actually here. So we've got two different ways that we can access the same information, and I just want to configure the exchange rate providers. So that's going to take us here to the exchange rate providers. And what I can do is I can say I want to create a new exchange rate provider. And there's two different options. There's a number of different options that are pre-configured. So these we can't change. Although it would be nice if someone out there wanted to go out and create a Faerûnian exchange rate provider, and then maybe we could have more of a commodities exchange where we could convert from gold pieces to sheep or to cows or to the price of really any of the commodities we've got out there, wood, for example, or metals. But I can go out and I can say, I want to create a new exchange rate. And in this case, for Oanda. Now, if I look over on my browser, let me pull up the right browser that we've got here. So I think this is this is one of them. So what we've got is I'm on the Oanda website. There's a whole lot of APIs that are out there that we can go out and we can access. Now, if we go out and manage, if we just go to the Oanda site, let's go there. Then what we can do is we can go out and we can actually start trading. And what we can do is we can say, I want to set up I live in the United States, and I can continue. And then we can go out and we can enter in some personal information. And then also we can say what type of account we want to create. And we can create a free testing account. And then what's going to happen is that you're going to get an email that has the unique API key associated with it. So I'm not too worried about people using this. I'll probably delete it afterwards. But anyway, so we've got sort of this API key that we can go out and take advantage of. So what we go out and do is we say, I want to create a new Oanda rates provider. And then it's going to go out and really configure all of this for us. So I could go out and I could create one for the central banks. I could create another one for Central Bank of Europe. And if I wanted to, let's just add them all in here as our exchange rates. So now if I go into the Oanda rates, then what we do is we can just specify what that key is and save that. And now what we've got is we've got our rates configured in the system. So this, let me see. Let me just check through my documentation. Okay. Now, also what we can do is if we've got these exchange rates, then, or these exchange rates here, then what we can do is we can go out and we can go out into our exchange rate types. And we could create additional exchange rate types here that are linked back to the back to our exchange rate providers. So if I wanted to, I could create one here. Again, if we went out and if we created a new exchange rate for the Foreign Board of Trade, as the main exchange rate provider, then we could go back and we can link all of this back to the exchange rates. Now, how do we go out and use this? Why are we going out and setting this up? The answer is that what we want to do is we want to go out and we want to use this to import in the currency exchange rates. And this is a simple process, but what we can do is we can also set this up and automate this if we want to. So what we're going to do is we're going to work through this final step of the exchange rates and look at the configuration and then see how we can automate this process if we're running in the real world, or again, if someone goes out and decides to create a Faerûn exchange rate provider with all the standard currency conversions. So what we're going to do is we're going to return back to my surface environment that I've got here, and we're going to now go out and say I want to import the exchange rates. And I'm not going to do this or finish this off, but what we can see is we can see the process. So again, let me go back to here. I can go and I can access this through the menu, or I can go and go down to the general ledger, and then so that was in the currency, so that's the import option. And then we have the menu item showing up here as well. What we're going to do is we're going to say, what is the exchange rate that we're going to set import? So for example, I could choose the default exchange rate provider. And then I could also say what, or the default exchange rate. And I could say, what rates do we want to pull in? And then also when do we want to import it in as of? So I could import it in as of today. When I run this, this is then going to go out to the exchange rate provider. It's going to pull down all of the currency exchange rates and all the commodity exchange rates that may be specified there, and grab those and bring them all into the system. Now, what we can do also is something that I haven't done yet. Is what you can do is you can say that I want to set up a recurrence for this. And what I can do is I can say that I want to run this every day, and maybe I want to run it at 6 a.m. And I want this to be daily, and I want to run it every day. And if I click OK, then that's going to set up a batch job, which is going to run this currency, run the import with these parameters every day at 6 a.m. in the morning, so that when I come in and start my day, then all of the exchange rates have been converted and they've been imported in. So this is really tying up the end of the currency management. Let me just check that there's nothing else here. Yeah, so this is this finishes up the exchange rate providers and also the currencies. But when we're talking about the advanced Dynamics 365, then we may need a little bit of work to go out and have automated exchange rate providers. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to change here, and thank you. And we're going to change gears a little bit because I knew this session was going to be a little bit small. I've only talked for around about 10 minutes. So let me just find the right document. So what we're going to do is, and so this is, okay, this is actually right. So this is our work in progress. And as you can see, this is hot off the press. I haven't even updated the table of contents here, which is why I got a little bit confused. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at cash and bank management. So you can see that this is live. This is the first guide for the cash and bank management module, where we're going out and we're going to be starting to configure some of the controls in the system. So this sort of changing gears and talking about cash management, then what we're going to do in the next couple of episodes or live streams is we're going to start setting up some of the cash and bank management, and we're going to start it here and do just a tiny little bit of the cash and bank management as a little bit of a segue. And what we're going to do is we want to, in the end, to go out and create some bank accounts that correspond back to the GL accounts that we've already set up, that we've already been using. So we've been using money that we don't have in our bank accounts to go out and pay for miscellaneous expenses throughout all of our journals. But what we want to do is we want to make that official, and we want to have a bank account. Now, when we have a bank account, then that allows us to go out and create the banks. But also then we can have bank statements, and we can import in the bank statements, and we can set up the automatic reconciliation. And there's new features in the latest versions of Dynamics 365 for even better bank reconciliation. And I'm not quite sure whether we've got this in the environment, but we'll take a look and see how far we can get. So what we're going to do is we're going to start working through this guide. And again, we're going to talk about the cash and bank management and move through and start really with the controls. So we're going to do one of these exercises before we sign off today and really finish the rest in the next live stream, which is going to be tomorrow. And the first thing we want to do is we want to set up our bank transaction types. Now, every time we do something within the bank, if it's a deposit, if it's a withdrawal, if it's a bank fee, then all of these are tracked with these bank transaction types. So we're going to set up some of those, and we're going to configure them in the system. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up these bank fees, or these transaction types that we've got, which are standard. And also, what we're going to do is we're going to add some more here within the system for Faerûn that are Dungeon and Dragon specific in the system, just for fun. Now, these transaction types are also really important for the bank reconciliation, because what we're going to use is we're going to use these transaction types to go and match the transactions for the automatic bank reconciliation. So what we're going to do is we're going to move back over to our environment and start this one step before signing off. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to find the bank transaction types. So I went here through and I go type here. So I went through the menu to find the bank transaction types, and we're going to go into a new module if we're going to do a search. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into the cash and bank management, and then we're going to go out and find the bank transaction types down here. So now we're going to get into the area for managing the bank transaction types. I'm going to show you a trick here, but I'm going to start, and I'm going to say that this is 01 and this is for deposits, and 02 is going to be for deposits electronic. So if I want to go out and be specific here, I could say these are manual deposits, or something I like using parentheses as I'm going out and setting these up. Now, we've got all of this information here within a table for us. So what I can do, if everything works out right, is I can just go and copy that and then return back here to the view, and I can just paste these in. So even though I've got 12 transactions, I can just do a cut and paste and bring them directly into the system. And what it's going to do is it says you've added in some records. So what do you want to do? Do you want to save these changes? And I'm going to say yes. And so it's going to go out and change all these and adjust them for me. Now, some of these items here, let's see, the fees. These have accounts associated with them. So the fees I'm going to actually post to the bank service charges. Interest I should post to interest expense. Non-sufficient funds is going to go to 16900, which I don't have an account for. So let's see. Non-sufficient fund. Let's post that to the bank charges for now, and then we'll see if we've got 4,700. So this is interest income. Oh, so this should be, the interest income that's here. Let's see if we've got an interest, that's interest expense, and then for, let's see, so let's leave that for now because I haven't gone out and set up that account. Now also what I'm going to do is I'm going to also go out and get a couple more items here and add in the arcane escrow deposits, so all the magical deposits, the Dragon Horde transfer, and the spellcasting fees that are associated with the bank accounts, and bring these directly here into the transactions. So now what we've got is we've got our transactions, and since I've got a little bit of time, then what we're going to do is we're going to finish off this, and we're going to finish the bank transaction types, and we're going to create some bank transaction type groups. So everything that we've been setting up has been grouped into sort of areas. So we've got the deposits, we've got payments, we've got transfers, we've got fees and interest charges, non-sufficient funds, and some other items as well. So what we want to do is we're going to create some bank transaction type groups and finish for the day, because I think that's enough set up in the system. So what we're going to do is I've set up my bank transaction types, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the bank transaction groups, which is actually here. So this is the bank transaction groups will go out and group the bank transaction types together. And if I go over to the setup here, then we've got the bank transaction types here in the menu. We've also got the bank transaction groups. Bank reasons we'll work on in the next live stream. So I'm going to create a new one here, and the first one is going to be for payments. And the bank transaction types here is going to be 10. For payments, it's going to be 03, 04, and 05. So those were the payments that we created. I'm going to create another one, which is going to be deposits. And deposits is 01 and 02 for our deposits. And also, looking down here, also 11. So we've got credit card deposits further on in the transactions. Then we're going to have all of our transfers. And the transfers are the transaction code 6 and 7. So those are our manual transfers and our wire transfers within the system. Then I'm going to add non-sufficient funds as a bank transaction type. Let me spell that correctly. And non-sufficient funds has got the non-sufficient fund bank transaction type. And then we've got just a couple more where we're going to have 50. It's going to be the fees and charges. And we've got 2 transaction types for that. We've got 8 and 9. We're going to then add the 60, which is the interest and income. So that is going to be the transaction type 12. Now we've got a new item here, which is 70, which is arcane deposits. Although we could go and put that in with the deposits. We could go and put that in with the deposits if we want to, or we can go out and say that this is our escrow account for the arcane accounts. Then we're going to have 80, which is the trade guild assessments. That's going to be 14 and 15. And then finally, we've got, I don't know whether I've got this, but we're going to do planar. And this is going to be did I create a 16? No, I didn't. So let's create, go back here and let's create that. And we're going to have 16, and this is going to be transfers. The transfers between the planar realms. So now let's go and do a look for that. Now I've got my transfers. Again, we could go out and we could also add this transfers to 30 if we wanted to, so that they're all configured together, or we can separate them out into the more esoteric sort of considerations that we've got here. So what we've done is we've gone out and we've set up these transaction types and also the transaction type groups for all of our bank transactions, which we're going to be using later on within the bank statements and the bank transactions. But for now, we've just got all of this set up within the system so that we can go out and use this. So let's stop there. Oh, and just a reminder, if anyone wants this this documentation, then all of this and all of the setup is available at adnd.com/start, and you've probably seen that a number of times in my posts. So go out and have a look at that. And if you want to go out and do this yourself, then what you can do is you can go out and build your own environment. I've got a number of people that are creating their own virtual machines, and they're going out and setting them up themselves and running them locally on their systems. Or you can go out, if you're not that technically inclined or if that scares you a little bit, then we've got these lab environments that you can go out and take advantage of here within the advanced Dungeons and Dynamics 365 environments that we're configuring. So just keep in mind, and if for example you want to support the project, then you can go out and you can support it. We've got I've got all of our benefactors and supporters are scrolling along the bottom for just to give them recognition of all the support, and I thank them very much, and I thank them for their support. Now, with that said, what we're going to do is we're going to finish off today. We're coming up on the half-hour mark, which is sort of where I want these presentations to finish. And if anyone has any questions, then contact me. My name is Murray Fife, and this was the Advanced Dungeons and Dynamics 365 17th live event for the live stream. So hope to see you on the next event.